Aloha everyone, welcome to MTG 808 Junior. You got Mike on the mic. Uh, yeah, it's been a long time. Just some things, we have our Patreon. Uh, to give a shout out to our Patreon who are supporting our youth scene in Hawaii and quite possibly elsewhere. So we're looking at expanding. More information on that as things progress. Uh, so we have our memberships. We have contribute. You can contribute as much as $1 a month. Every little thing helps our youth scene. Also, we want to plug in our first youth standard artisan tournament. Yep. We're going back to standard artisan. Uh, for quite some time we've been running pioneer artisan, and yeah, right now, based on what we're seeing in standard looks pretty fun. So we figured like, hey, let's go back to standard artisan. So it's October 26th, the week before Halloween. $5 entry fee. Shout out to Twinings for hosting us. This is supposed to be standard, but it says pioneer, but it's standard. Um, so yeah, come on out. Even if you don't want to play, you just want to see what the kids are up to. Yeah, come on out. So what do we got today? We got this pretty sick Boros aggro list. So what this deck is trying to do is basically you're just playing a whole bunch of small creatures and you're just going wide and attacking. And there's effects that help boost the team up. So before we go into what the creature support, let's go talk about our creatures. We got Yotian Frontliner, 1 drop. When it attacks another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And it has Unearth. As you can see on the screen, Unearth says you pay a white, you bring this creature back, and it has haste. And then you exile it at the beginning of your next end step. Uh, Novice Inspector, its counterpart was, back then it was Thraben Inspector, and it essentially does the same thing. Creates a clue token, for late in the game. That clue token could get you card draw, get to more things. Or dig deeper in your deck. Nurturing Pixie. Nurturing Pixie is a 1 mana flyer. When it enters the battlefield, return one target non-fairy, non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Um, if a permanent is returned this way, put a +1/+1 counter. So what this says is, hey, you know what? I can return a Novice Inspector in case I need to get another card, or I can when we get to the 2 drops, I'll talk about it even further. We got Recruitment Officer, 1 mana, 2/1, with a nice ability. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less, or put them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Late in the game, this is a pretty good mana thing in case you need to dig for creatures. Um, the most expensive creature is Imodane's Recruiter, and we'll get to him in a moment. In our 2-drop creatures, we got Resolute Reinforcements. 2 mana flash creature. When it enters, create a 1/1 white soldier token. So this creature does synergize well with Nurturing Pixie. So when it enters the battlefield, you can return uh, Resolute Reinforcements back into your hand. It'll get a Nurturing Pixie gets a +1/+1 counter, and like you can cast Resolute Reinforces again to get another creature on the battlefield. To get an extra token. Um, Also, we have this new card from Duskmourn. Splitskin Doll, 2 mana. It says when it enters, draw a card, then discard a card unless you control another creature power 2 or less. So based off of this, um, most of your creatures have one power toughness. Power 2 or less. So, very good card draw. And we got this new card, Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Artifact creature toy. When it attacks, whenever Arabella Abandoned Doll attacks. It deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life for X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Now, um, you know, there's some things here that probably are considered non-bows, and we'll get to them in a moment. But then, before as you get to that, it's basically similar to like a lightning helix, if you will. You'll do X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life. So imagine attacking in with Arabella and like a few of these creatures, you know. Um, it deals X damage for the number of creatures you control, and you gain that much life. And it has a pretty good toughness, so it is capable of blocking the early aggro creatures. Um, and we have our 3-drop Imodane Recruiter. Uh, it has this nifty thing. It's a from Wild Silver Drain. It has an adventure spell called Train Troops. 5 mana, create two White Knight tokens with Vigilance, and then if you cast the other part, the main part, um, when it enters, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. So when you're building a wide army of creatures, you just play this, and then they get the buff, and then you just attack in. Now we're talking about also, well, for you, we got Gleeful Demolition. Great card, 1 mana, destroy target artifact. If you control that artifact, create 3/1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens. So how this synergizes with the deck is, in a pinch, you could target your Yotian Frontliner because you still can unearth it. You can target the clue token from the Novice Inspector. You could also target Splitskin Doll if you need to. You could also target the Arabella with the Gleeful Demolition. All these things will help if you want to get more bodies onto the field. We also have Requisition Raid, nice motor spell from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So Spree is a mechanic where you can choose more than one mode. So the one that's pretty relevant to us is the white +1, where you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. So you can essentially add +1/+1 counters to your team. You do have Case of the Gateway Express. When this case enters, choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control deals 1 damage to that creature. So if you have 4 creatures out, when this comes in, it can deal 4 damage to target creature an opponent controls. And to solve, to solve, 3 or more creatures must attack this turn. So once it's solved, it gets +1/+0. So these two things late in the game could be non-bows for Arabella, but in the meantime, it's a nice thing that it's something cool you can do with your creatures currently before they get those additional buffs, if you will. So it is running 11 plains and 9 mountains. Then we have our sideboard. Our sideboard consists of Elspeth Smite, especially for decks that contain Heartfire Hero and Cacophony Scamp, because when they die, there's a death trigger. So if you kill them, if you deal 3 damage to them and they die, you don't get the death trigger. Another option for this would be Torch the Tower. It's Torch the Tower says. Torch the Tower says it has bargain. So what bargain is you may sacrifice an artifact or an enchantment or token as you cast a spell. So you can sacrifice the clue token. You can sacrifice the Yotian Frontliner. You can sacrifice the case if you need to. It deals 2 damage to target creature planeswalker. If it was bargain, it deals 3 damage to that permanent, and you scry 1. And if the permanent dealt if a permanent dealt damage by Torch Tower would die, exile it instead. Again, it's another replacement for it stops the death triggers of Cacophony Scab, and Hardfire Hero. Okay. Um, we have another copy of Requisition Raid. Other modes that could be relevant is destroy target artifact or destroy target enchantment. The enchantment one um, could be. I think there's going to be a whole bunch of enchantment decks, especially with Dustmourne. There's a whole bunch of enchantments coming out, so you never know when you'll need them. We have Surge of Salvation. You and permanents you control can gain hexproof, prevent all damage dealt by black or red sources. This card is pretty relevant against the next card I'm going to show you. We have Pyroclasm, so it deals damage to each creature. So this card is good against other aggro decks. And there's also a 1-drop one that it deals damage to target player and each creature that player controls. So it could also be a good replacement for this. So yeah, Surge of Salvation kind of helps you against board wipes. Against red board wipes. We have this new card, Exercise. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature power 4 or greater. Oh, excuse me. And then we also have 3 copies of Lightning Helix. Deals 3 damage to 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. And we do have Dewdrop Cure. So in a pinch, if you need creatures, you can return 2 creatures. Gift a card, so you have to promise your opponent a gift. So in this case, if you give them a card and you gift them, you can return 3 target creatures mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So based on this, we have majority of our creatures are in the 1s and 2-drop slots. So yeah, this is the deck tech on Boros Aggro. Let us know what you think. If you like the content, and we're gonna do our best to put more out there for you folks, especially those who enjoy budget magic. So essentially magic without any rares or mythics. Like, subscribe, you know what to do. We will put out the deck list and our Patreon links on our YouTube description. But yeah, take care. Much aloha and peace.